Filibate Ensemble here. And you are absolutely getting your fix here.
Gale Radio with your hosts, Babs and Gale. Coming to you live from Sarah Gale's studio.
Isn't that what it's about? It's about to remind us what a life. Dig in the grave. I've got it made. Okay, now I'm actually going to start.
What about Cinnamon Gale?
We're professionals. Listen. Oh my goodness. Cinnamon Gale, you've played that song quite a few times today. And I understand. We started off with an F playlist. Not that I'm complaining ever when Peter Steele is brought into the picture because he's...
And just think about how many times I played it when you weren't in the car.
That's a good point.
A lot. I played it a lot.
So this week, I am a very happy gal because I get to talk about Faith No More, which is basically the equivalent to me talking about Down in Pantera.
I thought it was F for Francis Scott Key.
It's F for fucking Gales.
Fucking Gales.
A fucking Gale-sode. A Gale-sode?
A Gale-sode about Mike Patton.
A Babisode. I like Babisode sounds better.
Babisode. He is a Babs. He's a man Gale / Babs. He's both.
I feel like the first time I heard Epic, or... No, you know what? I have to say it was definitely with my aunt, but the time that I heard it again and I was like, oh yeah, these guys was on my way to the salon, like when I was like 17 or something like that, 17, 18. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go home and download all this shit. What? I didn't illegally pirate music. I'm just kidding. Who didn't?
You got it off iTunes.
Right. I got it off of iTunes. I feel like at that point you were like, I don't know why I thought that you were like, hello, like this song was always playing, or you were just like, how is this like new to you? Like, I feel as though you've heard them or that song so many times before that you were like...
You know where I felt like I heard it the most was at concerts. Like
before the
and everyone would jam out. And I was like, I hear this song all the time. And like, I didn't know who it was. And then I actually watched them on the Download Festival in 2014. And I watched it with my mom, and they had all white suits on. Everything on stage was white, and they had lilies all over the place. So my mom was calling them. She's like, "Oh, what is this? The Easter band?"
The Easter band.
So we were talking about them being the Easter band, and you showed me a lot about Mr. Patton, aka Joey Tribbiani.
She pointed out that Mike Patton looks like Joey Tribbiani from Friends, and now I can't fucking unsee it.
Look,
they're both obviously really good looking men, so it's not like it's a bad thing. It's just,
it's funny.
It's very funny,
especially like younger pictures of him. Like he's got the same. It's the eyes, I think.
Yeah, and like the shape face. They both kind of have like the wide like jaw chin thing going on. I don't fucking know. You know, like
doing the YMCA.
Like, no, like a square shape, like
Vogue
jaw. Mike Patton's voguing. I fell down the rabbit hole that day when I went home. Like when I got home from my salon appointment, I was like, all right, I'm gonna download this album. I'm gonna whatever. And
which album? Angel Dust?
The first one I downloaded was the one with Epic on it, which was The Real Thing.
Oh, okay.
And that came, but I would have to say Angel Dust is probably... It's really hard for me to choose a favorite between Album of the Year and Angel Dust, but
you can. It's like choosing a child.
It really is, because all of their albums sound so different than their predecessor. So The Real Thing is, I mean, I know a lot of people compare that to like Chili Peppers-ish, which is really hilarious because Mike and Anthony Kiedis have like an infamous feud for years now, because he
got a noodle dick. Didn't think I remembered that one.
So many interviews are gold. No, so Anthony Kiedis kicked Mr. Bungle, who is Mike Patton's first band that he started in like high school. he kicked them off the bill for some kind of festival and was like saying, "Oh, this guy copies my dance moves and like they're trying to sound like us and all this." And at that point, you know how much shit that they like created, like just Faith No More, Bungle, and how many things Mike was involved with that would show off that he wasn't just a one trick pony, basically. It's like, why? Because they came out with one album however many years ago, and some of the songs remind people of Chili Peppers. Like, it was just, it was so ridiculous. So it got kicked off of billing, and Mike likes to make fun of Anthony Kiedis quite a bit. Did I show you the concert that Bungle did when they dressed up as the Chili Peppers?
And it was in
He's so
the best of
bad.
moments
He is
with Mike
such.
Patton.
Hmm. Yeah,
It was
that's
in the
right.
yeah.
He's just such. He really pushes buttons and boundaries, and I think that's why I love him so much.
I mean, in his defense, I would be pissed as fuck too. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, because really, like, how petty is that? You're gonna kick someone off of like festival billing just because? I don't know, but that
because they sounded. He said that um Anthony Kiedis was mad because they sounded like them. He
yeah,
probably felt intimidated because Mike has so much fucking talent. He's like really underrated. He is. He needs to be
he
talked
is
about more.
he
We need
is.
more Patton around. But yeah, from what I gathered from that was that he was fucking like intimidated.
That's kind
But
of
he
how I
did say
felt
that
too.
they sounded similar, and that's why he didn't want them on the bill,
Yeah.
which is asinine because like
To me, that just is it's jealousy.
it is
It's just
jealousy. That's what I mean. I
it's a
think
level of
he knew
jealousy.
that he could fucking sing 10 times better than him, and he was like, "Yo, if I let these guys like play on this bill, they're gonna become more popular than my band."
Yeah, and the thing is, like, okay, I'm not gonna sit here and say I hate the Chili Peppers because I definitely don't.
No,
But I hate the level of pettiness that Anthony had to go to. When really, if you listen to the Chili Peppers, you always know it's the Chili Peppers. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but in comparison to if you're listening to Faith No More, like how I said before, one album is so much radically different than the last, and then you have Patton has like a million other freaking projects that he's part of.
I can't.
Like it's he is I don't even know. I don't even know how to put it into words, but I said this a million times before, but I'll repeat it on air that this man has a 6 octave range. And that is such an impressive range. I don't know if we have any people out there watching that are vocalists and understand that, what he can cover, um, and what notes he can jump to, but he's freaking incredible. So at this point, when I started, discovering all of Faith No More's albums, they had already been broken up. So I thought, okay, this is another band that I am getting into way late, and I'm never going to have the chance to see them. And
Totally feel you on that one. Not
and
with
then
them, but enough bands that I've gotten into that's happened, and it's like, oh great,
yeah,
I'm
not
glad I like this band now. Now I can never see them.
yeah, and it's a horrible feeling because it's it I had such I don't know, I just connected with all of it so deeply. I don't know, it's just I was fucking obsessed. I fell down the Mike Patton rabbit hole. I discovered he's in a band, the Tomahawk and Bungle and Phantomas and Lovage and Nevermind and like the list just goes on and on and on. And but then in 2010, they announced that they were going to be doing a reunion tour, and the first person I thought of to tell was my aunt, because my aunt Dee Dee, hello Aunt Dee Dee, godmother,
Hello, Dee.
she was where I mean I first heard them because of her. She has been obsessed with Mike Patton throughout all of like her youth and then into adulthood. So I called her up and I'm like, I bought us tickets. Period. They were playing 2 nights at
You have a habit of doing that.
I really do, because you know what?
Not
It's
that
like
that's a bad thing, but
if I want to go somewhere so bad, I'm just like, I'm going to buy 2 tickets because someone's going to want to go, or either that, or I have someone in mind when it comes to just buying 2 at a time.
of course it's fit.
Phil. He's crazy. He did this last week. He was opening the door. That's so wild.
Of course it's Phil though, and you don't bring me to see metal Joey Tribbiani.
Well, you're going to because Tomahawk actually dropped their second single from the new album that's coming out in March.
Wait, golfers clap.
They dropped their second single. Um and
I liked Business Casual.
I liked it too. The Doggy Dog that came out today, that's the name of the song. I liked Business Casual better.
Okay.
But I can listen, like, it's Doggy Dog's not a bad song. It's just, in comparison, I have a favorite. Look, there he goes.
Poopsie poops.
I can't, well, for the people listening and not watching, her cat can open the door like one of the velociraptors from Jurassic Park.
He literally
and
is. Oh my god.
he just came in.
Poopsie.
I'm sure he'll come back in and destroy some, I don't know.
Oh, wait,
some
no,
more
his thing
shit.
is he jumps on the mixer that's next to me, and then he goes across the speaker, and then he jumps onto the desk and he walks across the keyboard.
I'm so glad.
That's his thing. If the keyboard wasn't there and that wasn't like an issue, then I wouldn't care. But it's great when Paul's mixing and he jumps on the mixer and knocks like knobs out of place and stuff.
No, cats are destructive. I would know all about it. I have two
Tell us all about
terrors.
it.
I'll tell you all about Tomahawk.
I was
'cause
gonna say, tell us
what-
about when you saw Faith No More.
Well, firstly, I want to say that when they go on tour and if everything is like super safe, you better believe I'm hopping on that and just buying us 2 tickets
I'll wear a
immediately.
hazmat suit. I don't really
I don't
care.
give a fuck what I have to do
I'll put a plastic
to
bag
see
over
Mike
my
Patton
head.
live. Yo, same.
Imagine.
The last, I know I said this in one episode, but the last concert I went to before COVID was Mr. Bungle. So it would be nice for it to be like the first concert I see as things are, I don't know, getting better, improving.
Question: Did he have braids at that point?
The bungle braids, yes. He had the bungle braids, and I didn't give a shit. I really didn't.
They fit him. I like it.
I just, he's a really quirky individual, so I feel that everything he does, I'm like, yeah, he would do that.
He would.
It's just not much of a surprise when he does something that's a little outside the box with his look. But so Faith No More in 2010 they played 2 shows not back to back. I think it was like a July 3rd, then they skipped obviously the 4th for the holiday, then the 5th. So the first night I went with, remember Nubby?
I remember Nubs.
Yeah, she was down and she came with. That show, he was wearing a peach suit, like full, like the shirt, the pants, the shoes, jacket, everything peach.
I want to go shopping with him.
Yo, for real, he's got some.
He's a grade A, classy dresser.
He absolutely fucking is. I mean, but damn, if you look at pictures from the 90s, I mean, he looks.
He was a kid though.
Like everybody looked in the 90s, the neon colors and the weird patterns. There's probably a windbreaker in there somewhere. It's just what happens.
Yeah, we all had windbreakers.
Oh my god! And it was always like the green, white, hot pink combo. Like for me.
Oh, see, I had just a cotton candy bright ass pink.
No.
And my sister had the same one, so it was in my parents' defense though, it was perfect because like I mean probably in the 90s it was hard because everyone was wearing those fucking jackets, but like you turn around, you lose your kid somewhere and you're like, oh shit, there they are. I see that pink little dot floating walk in the distance.
I mean, it's really good for spotting your own kids, I guess. That's a pretty good point.
I used to hide in department stores and scare the shit out of my mom when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, same.
In
like
the
in
racks.
between the clothes. Oh my god, yes.
I used to do that all the time, and my mom would like have like a
too.
heart attack walking around the store trying to find me, and then I'm like, "Here I am," and I would come out, and she'd be like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." Here I am.
Things that we thought were funny as children were absolutely not funny, not even the least bit to our parents.
Horrifying.
Lord, but
I bet Mike Patton did some crazy things to his parents when he was kids.
How about him? I mean, listen, I talked about this in the first episode. Him taking a shit and Axl Rose's orange juice.
Oh no, but I mean when he was a kid, like, I mean if he was doing that now, I'm sure he was doing like next level shit as a kid.
Also, just to like circle it back around,
like when Phil burned when his parents when he was 14.
Yes.
All because of a prank on his sister and her friend.
Yep. And because I remember in the first episode you said, did Axel drink it? And then when I said yes, you were like, how does he not notice that there's poop? Well, he pooped in the carton, I think. Like it wasn't like, oh, it's a glass of orange juice and there's just a piece of shit in it. Like
There's a method to his madness.
he's absolutely insane. He's done oh, I mean now we have Poopsie knocking over the lipstick, but um yeah, so as a kid, listen, there are a lot of things that I want to talk about, like that are like the tall tales of Patton, but you have to understand, I feel that Mike Patton fans are like a fucking cult. Like, and it could sometimes be a little intimidating. Like, I'm a part of like certain groups on Facebook just because I want to keep up with him. Um, and people are like oddly possessive when it comes to talking about him. It's very strange. And this goes like men, women, everybody. And they often, um, a lot of what I'm seeing is they'll rag on the girls that are like talking about how hot he is. It's like I just feel like it's so like
Why do people care
petty.
so much?
Exactly, like it's petty, it's immature.
If you don't find someone attractive, just fucking move on.
But the thing is that there are so many men out there that say like, "Hey, if I had to choose one guy," just like how I don't know how many times have you asked a guy that and they said either like Trent Reznor or like Johnny Depp.
I was gonna say
Like
definitely
I
Johnny
feel like
Depp
those are
more.
like the most like common answers when you ask a guy like, "Hey, if you could with a guy, even though you're
I've heard
straight, like
Tom
who would it
Hardy a
be?"
lot.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see that.
because he's like a man, or Jason Statham, because he's like a manly man,
Yeah,
and he's just they're
yeah, I
classy
get it.
guys,
I
well
could
dressed,
see that.
clean cut.
Yeah. No. But yeah, so the groups, so my point is that like there's things I want to talk about or like mention, but I'm like, oh God, fucking the patent cult. It's a very strange thing. I don't even participate in discussions. I just stay on there so that I could see like, if there's a new single that came out or there's a
That's
new
sad
photo of him.
though.
It really is. And honestly, the nicest group I'm part of, Lane Staley. Lane Staley fans are like the sweetest fans I've ever like talked to, or they're just so like kind to each other. And I don't know.
No,
So
I get
sorry
it.
guys, listen, I am a obsessive Patton fan myself, but for me to say
You're
that
not
about,
vicious about it though.
yeah, like I'm not saying all Patton fans are assholes, but like I'm just seeing the majority of people how they talk about him. I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like we're all here because like in this group because we love him. I don't get it. But
I'm part of a Rammstein group and a Till Lindemann group, and like everybody in those groups are like, man, cool. I did post a
he's
TikTok that I did with with a picture of Till, and some people were like, "Oh, this is corny" and stuff like that. Like maybe like two or three like sour apples. Um, but it was funny. Like I didn't even have to say anything. There was like fans that were in the group that were like, "Yo, fucking don't comment on it. If you don't like it, just keep
that's
scrolling.
what I'm saying. What
Just
the
leave it
fuck?
alone." Like
So
my
weird.
posture is terrible. I'm like,
I'm kind of slouched too. I don't know. I don't know why.
I keep going out of
It's
focus,
fine.
just like my life.
Just move move a little closer. Come a little closer.
Oh, that's me right
Yeah,
now.
there you go. That's you.
I know. I'm like,
Much better.
that's me right now.
Yo, I showed you pictures of the peach suit versus the red suit of his
I
from like
think
that
I saw
tour
the peach suit.
because I feel like I wanted to like ask you which one you thought he looked better in because I
Definitely the peach. Was it the peach suit with the black shirt?
no, everything peach. Like everything, like the
I don't
shirt, the
know,
jacket, the
because I feel
pants.
like I saw a picture of him with a peach jacket and peach pants on, but it was a black shirt, like a black button up.
Mm,
I like that.
yeah, yeah. I don't know that
If it's all one solid color, I feel like the red one would kind of be better. I mean, I like peach, but I feel like
personally
peach needs like an accent, whether it's like a white
it
shirt or like the black shirt. It looked good.
that's what I feel too. I personally, I mean, I think I just love red. It's my favorite color, and it looks really good on him. And
Cause you're a cinnamon girl.
because I'm a fucking cinnamon gal. So
My cinnamon girl.
the show with my aunt was bonkers. It was bonkers
Where was
because
it?
at the Williamsburg waterfront, both shows were there. So I went with her and she has never been to a show with me before and she doesn't understand that I will get as close as I possibly can to the stage and it does not matter who's around me. I'm getting there. So I'm like, yo, hold on to me. And because my aunt's like 5 foot nothing. So, and here I am 5'8". I'm like, yo, just hold on to me. I'm gonna get us like as close as we can. Cause like it was a pretty rowdy crowd. And I mean, they haven't like played a show in like well over a decade at that point. So people were like going ape shit. And I get us like really close, and there were like people like around me going like, "What the fuck?" Blah, blah, like cursing at me. I'm like, "Shut
It's probably
up."
people from that Facebook group.
So, it probably was. It probably was.
Were you there? Well, you shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Like-
were you there because you think Mike Patton's hot, man? It's just so stupid. Like, yes, obviously, like his looks are like duh, like, but at the same time, that is one of the most talented individuals in this genre. And I feel as though he's not as famous as he should be because he doesn't care about like he makes music for himself. He doesn't make what he thinks is going to be popular, which is why I mean he's come out with some weird shit that not even like I listened to like I think it was like Moonchild, like John Zorn project or something. It just wasn't my thing. It was just sounds that only people on acid would be like, whoa, like it was a really, and I went to a show. I went to a fucking John Zorn. If that's a mistake, sorry guys. It's been a long time since I went, but um, what I'm trying to say is, I just think that he deserves more credit than he gets.
He's very eccentric.
Very, very eccentric. I remember I mean, I know that there's definitely a difference in sound between from the start of the real thing and then Angel Dust. After Angel Dust, Jim Martin left the band. Uh, him and Mike definitely did not get along at all.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
They did not fucking get along. In fact, in the Angel Dust sandwich interview, he definitely shoots some digs at Jim in that interview. Like he just didn't give a
Wah,
fuck.
wah, wah.
Yeah. So you'll notice a difference in sound between like the first two albums and the rest, but I don't think the quality dropped at all. It's just a completely different sound. I know that you definitely listened to more because of me now recently. So is there something you heard that stuck out to you? That's her singing Midlife Crisis.
I'll learn the lyrics one day.
It's okay. You could just go.
It's my it's my Gary, so girl. It's my Gary.
It's such a good song.
That and Last Cup of Sorrow.
Oh yes. See, and then you have an Angel Dust song and an Album of the Year song.
Did you hear that
Kiambo.
noise? Sorry, I just heard
What?
a noise and it creeped me out.
Maybe it's Mike.
It was like a. I don't know.
Wait,
It sounded like a
the
little
Phil.
squeal. What's this right now?
I fucking can't. Oh, so
Mike Patton.
Michael Patton. And I know that I keep going on, and you're like, guys, this is supposed to be about Faith No More, not just Mike Patton. Okay, whatever you say.
All right, I'm gonna say it so she doesn't have to say it. Faith No More is Mike Patton. Without him,
It is, and that's not to say
that's
that
not Faith No More.
it's not to say that obviously Billy and Roddy like and Puffy like I honestly I don't remember the new guitarist's name. Like, sorry guys, I just remember Jim Martin because I'm an Angel Dust fanatic. But that's not to say that like together they just make the perfect storm. But obviously Mike sticks out because of so many other things that he's a part of that have caught my attention. Like if you one project that he only did one album, and it was like a rap rock experimental album with this artist named Rozelle, and called themselves Peeping Tom, and they did a one-off. It was like a one album in 2006. That's it. Never did anything ever again. I'm like,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, that's fucking nice. So, and it was probably one of my like favorite projects that he did. So, I don't know. I just feel like obviously I'm going to talk about Mike more just because I love all his shit.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There is not a damn thing wrong with that. Even though I love that song, I still don't know the lyrics, so don't feel bad. Just saying.
That does make me feel better.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I think we have to cut to a commercial break because we have a special guest coming on.
Indeed.
So
And it's okay because I have an opportunity to talk more
after,
about. Well, I was gonna say not only after, but
during, we could talk
but we
to our
got
guest about it.
plenty of episodes where
Yeah, we
we're
can
gonna be
put 'em
covering Mike Patton bands.
I was just gonna say M for Mr. Bungle, Mike Patton,
fucking
Cinnamon Gill. I mean,
fucking T for Tomahawk. I'm gonna go off when we get to T.
oh, wait till I get to T.
Best believe. What do you? Oh shit! See,
My
weird.
Cinnamon Gill.
All right, let's cut to a commercial break, and we're gonna talk to our special guest about Faith No More. Well, we'll see if he's into them.
And other things.
What?
And other things.
And other things, of course. No, I'm interested to see if he likes them.
He probably does. Good thing he didn't come
definitely-
on for D though.
Oh my God! Wait.
We just would have been talking about Phil the whole time. Literally, we would have been
bad.
like
So bad. All right. Well, let's
Anyway.
see if our guest likes Faith No More, and he'll talk to us a little bit about the band that he's in.
Stay tuned, Sue Gears. So you thought you were getting ads? You're not. You're gonna sit here with me while I eat this delicious sandwich. Do you like it or not? So we're gonna be talking to Tim from Fit for an Autopsy. Because that's a band that should be spoken of more. And they're one of my favorite bands. Another band we should speak about more is Grotus. But you're going to have to wait for G for that one. Talking about these bands because they're talented, original, and it may not be something you could dance to, but who needs dancing anyway? Dancing is for robots that are going to take over the world one day. Just like computers are already doing. If you haven't already, like this video and click the subscribe button down below to subscribe to our channel and watch all the glory come together. You won't regret it. Maybe you will. So, I'm going to finish this delicious sandwich in peace. And you, our adoring listener, go check out this awesome interview and conversation we had with Tim. And we're back. And we have a very special guest, Mr. Tim Howley, Lord of Beards.
Lord of Beards. Rapunzel.
Mr. Modest
Welcome, Tim. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello.
Did you at least get some chicken wings when you got out of work? Something
Today,
good to
no.
eat?
No, definitely not. I did eat a brisket grilled cheese today, which was fantastic.
That
Damn.
sounds sinful.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
You have a lot of good food spots by you. You're
Yeah.
very blessed to live in an area where you have a lot of food choices, and it's not just like 10 pizzerias in a row. It's
Yeah,
a little bit of
that's
everything.
my town basically. Everywhere you look, there's a McDonald's or a pizzeria.
Where do you live?
I'm in Lynbrook.
if you're in Lynbrook, let's see what's good over there. I mean, what is that? B Greek is pretty good.
I never ordered from there, and I'm always on Seamless because I'm always trying to find new places. My favorite thing is getting a Greek salad pita from like this mom and pop place called Miss
Yeah,
Violet's,
yeah,
and I always see B Greek, and I'm like,
yeah.
because
But the problem is you're right by Rockville Center, which has 3,500 good food spots.
That's true. Rockville Center is packing. It's like
yeah,
it's funny because now I live in Islip, and I compare Patchogue and Rockville Center to each other all the time.
Yeah,
It's like pretty much the same crowd, except one's from Suffolk and one's from Nassau. But same thing
yeah,
with the restaurants. It's like just a strip of restaurants everywhere.
yeah, and
yeah,
unfortunately, I'm extremely limited because very strict diet. So I can't have fried. I can't have sugar. I can't have basically everything that I love. So it has to be a very healthy place for
yeah.
me
But you
to
can
go.
go. You can go to Wild Ginger.
Wild
Oh,
Ginger's good.
wild ginger is really good.
Place is fantastic.
I've lived out here since, oh my god, 2001. And I just had it for the first time like last year. I'm like, how the hell did I not?
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. So tell us about your musical influences. I'm curious because after listening to your band today, it's just the first on my mind, I guess.
Well, I mean, influences personally are way different than influences band wise. Like, you know, you got to think about. I mean, me as a guitarist, my influences range from blues guitarists to metal guitarists to jazz guitarists. And even not even guitarists. It could be guys like John Coltrane and stuff like that. Old jazz guys or old pianists and shit like that. But band wise, obviously we're going back to all of us are big Morbid Angel fans. We're all big Death fans. We're all big Gojira fans. We have so many different bands that we all like that we always want to kind of make a mesh of those bands and take influence from those classic metal bands.
Yeah, I could definitely hear the Gojira in there. They were supposed to tour with I think Poppy and the Deftones or something, but then
Yep.
COVID happened. I wanted to go to that show so
Yeah,
bad.
COVID was going to happen, or COVID happened, and everybody's touring plans kind of got shit on.
Yeah, yeah, I had to I cried because particularly Faith No More and Corn show that I could not go to, and I was devastated.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows that I mean we were supposed to tour, and I always say this: we were supposed to tour from January to October of last year,
Holy
straight
shit.
through. We were,
Wow.
we were supposed to be out. We had we completed our Europe tour. That was January, February. Came home. We were supposed to do March, April in the States. May was Australia. June and July was Europe. August was the States again, was another full US run. September was supposed to be, I believe, Canada. And then October, we were supposed to go. I forget where we were supposed to go in October, but, we were going to be out almost every month through last year because our record came out at the end of 2019. So, that record cycle, that first year of that record being out, you always hit super heavy. And unfortunately, we could not do that.
Yeah, that's like really crushing. You said it came out the end of 19, so that then like you had what? We had 2 months of normalcy, and then boom, that was it.
Yeah.
Technically, it was probably when did your album come out? It was
So
like
our
October.
album, yeah, it came out, I believe it was October 25th or something like that.
Yeah.
So we did our full US tour, which was that was a lot of fun. And then after that tour, after that headliner run, at the end of 2019, we did that with Lorna Shore. We came back, did the holidays at home. We usually do, Thanksgiving and Christmas at home. We did that, and then January we left for Europe. Did Europe with Die Art and Carnifex, and then came home. And 2 weeks later, we were supposed to be out on tour. We left, went to Philly, and it went from the day before the tour, we were like, the tour's going to happen. We'll be fine, to being halfway through that show, that first show, and them saying, yeah, the whole tour is canceled. We're done.
That's miserable.
Ugh.
It's
What
wild.
did you personally have like tickets to any shows like coming up in a year that you obviously were canceled, like something you were looking forward to?
No, he was going to be playing
Or
canceled shows that he wanted to go
yeah.
to.
Yeah, exactly. So the cool part about being in a band that does the Euro Festival run is, um, every time or every summer, the Euro Festival season is massive. So, we'll go over and play a festival with 50 to 60 other bands, and I'll be able to see some bands that I've never seen before. Like we played, uh, let's see, for example, we played 2018, we played Summer Breeze in Germany, and it was headlined by Devin Townsend, Amon Amarth, and Megadeth.
Holy shit.
And
Shit.
yeah, and it's like the show was
Wow.
massive, and I mean it was like 40,000 people. So being able to stand side stage and see Megadeth and stuff like that, just that close, was an absolute blast.
Yeah, I would have gave up on buying tickets after that show. I'd have been like, I've seen it all. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
No, that's a fire.
That's
there
Yeah.
there are
incredible.
Yeah.
there are a decent amount of shows that I still buy tickets to, but I think nowadays, because we've had those shows taken away from us, you know, since we had those shows taken away from us, it's definitely something that's on my list to get fully back into. I was so jaded for so many years, and I was just like, I don't want to go to that show. I don't want to go to that show. And now, not being able to go, I'm like, fuck this. Like, I want to go the whole time.
You want to see like
Yeah.
everybody. Someone was talking on
Literally
Facebook the other
everybody.
day that they got Alanis Morissette tickets, and I was jealous for a second. I'm like, why am I jealous of this? And then I was like, oh, because it's just the fact that they were able to buy tickets for a show.
Something.
I have
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rammstein tickets sitting in my dad's lockbox for the past year because I was supposed to see them last September, and they rescheduled it
yeah,
for this September. But I'm like, Till had pneumonia in March. He was
yeah.
doing the last leg of the Lidman shows, and he got pneumonia for like 3 weeks. They thought he had COVID, but he
That's
tested
wild.
negative. But he was in ICU for 2 weeks. I'm like, I don't know if I want him coming here. Like, I love him that
Yeah,
much where I could say, listen, stay safe in Germany, but I don't know who I'm kidding. He's fucking traveling to Dubai and all these other
Yeah,
places. So
he's
I
all
guess
over the
he's doing all
place.
right. But still,
yeah.
it's fucking scary. It's insane. Have you guys been like writing since like being in quarantine?
Yes, so we have been writing. We have a couple things in the works right now. Nothing too crazy, but still, ripping a couple songs. And we just got together. I posted about it the other day. We all got together to kind of hang out because we haven't seen each other in a while. So
I saw that you
went to
guys had
Will's house, hung
bagels.
out for a couple days. Yes, we did have bagels.
Staple of a good, solid interaction with your homies. Having some
Yes.
bagels. Yeah, it looked
Yeah, that
beautiful where you were.
yeah, that spot, going out to Will's house for the weekend was definitely well deserved, and something that I didn't realize that I needed.
Mm.
You got to. I mean, sometimes it's nice being in the house, and I think a lot of us needed a break from reality for a little while and just kind of needed to like pause everything and pretty much get our shit together. But at the same time, you don't realize how much you miss the normal little things. Like
Yeah,
even like when
exactly.
quarantine first started, I went to Bubba's Burritos out here and I was so excited. I was like, oh, a little bit of normalcy, getting food from a place I love. And they were like, all
Yeah.
right, we called. They were like, take this number down. When you come to get your food, text this number and we'll come out. They literally had a girl run out to the car and throw the burritos in the front window
Oh my god.
and was
She
like, here you go,
chucked
have a
the
nice
fucking
day.
burritos
Yeah,
at you.
because I paid with a
I
card over
Yeah.
the
am
phone and everything. And it just, I felt so like almost sick to my stomach because I was like, a couple months ago, I was sitting in the bar here talking to somebody that moved from Australia to New York and was like, "Oh, this is a really good like burrito spot." Just like having a normal conversation with him and the bartender. And I was like,
You
that's
there?
not going to happen for God only knows how long. But so I wanted to get into, I mean, obviously we're going to talk about Fit for an Autopsy, but why don't you bring us back to the beginning a little bit and how you got into music and your first band that you were in, the
So
Swanky World
music,
We Knew.
music, well, that was not the first band, surprisingly.
Correct
So,
me.
well, I was in Voice of Dissension with Anthony Lapardo in high school.
Shut up! I forgot about that because we've seen
Yes.
them before.
Who
So,
were they playing
Voice
with?
of Dissent. They've played. You guys played with From the Porn, right?
mhm,
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, years ago. So,
another F band.
I'll
That's
give you
insane. I mean, I
I'll
went
give
to
you
high school with those guys. We did.
the rundown. So, started playing guitar at 10. Um, ended up in, small little bullshit stuff in middle school and high school. And finally, I met a couple kids from Massapequa. They needed a guitarist. And I was like, fuck it, I'm in. So at like 15 years old, 14, 15, I ended up trying out for voice. So it was me, Lepardo, a couple other kids that went to Massapequa, um, a couple kids from Franklin Square as well. So then after that, we obviously played a bunch of shows. We were starting to get serious. At the end of high school, we ended up breaking up, and that's when I joined the World We Knew. So the World We Knew, or I joined the World We Knew December of 2007, and then I toured with them, shit, till March of 2013 was our last show, and it ended up being such a learning experience for me because I left high school. After I left high school, I went straight on tour. 3 days, like legit 3 days after high school, I went on tour. And I did not stop for 6 years, 5, 6 years. And then I thought that I was done with music completely, absolutely done with music. And so March of 2013 rolls around, where we knew plays our last show. And, I get done with that. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go do the motorcycle thing for a couple years or whatever. And I was actually thinking about going back to school. I was thinking about going to be a fucking history teacher. And then I got the call from Pat from Fit. And he's like, hey, listen, like, I know you're not doing anything. I know you're not on tour. I know your band fucking broke up. So you're going to come join my band. And I was like, no.
Now, how did you
Straight up,
meet?
I told him no.
How did you meet Pat? Did you through like a mutual
I'm
friend or from touring?
so I met Pat years ago. We actually met through the Suicide Silence dudes. Um, because I met those guys on when they came through Long Island, and when we ended up rolling through. Sorry, my boss is calling me nonstop, and it's so fucking annoying.
If you want to
Jeez.
pick up, I could cut it out.
No, no, it's totally fine. It's just the fact that he's called me 4 times in the last 10 minutes, and
Tell him it's after
it
5,
is it
my
is not
guy.
it is
It's
not work
Friday.
hours. It is not work hours. So Um, but yeah, so I met him in like 2007, and I was a fan of Fit before I joined the band. I loved what they were doing, and I loved what him and Will had put together, and obviously Nate Johnson being in the band and singing for the band. He was in Through the Eyes of the Dead. He was in Turmoil. He was in all these other fucking awesome bands. Deadwater Drowning. It was pretty sick to be in a band with these guys, and at first I was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna go back to school. And then they sent me all of the demos for Hellbound. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is awesome. You know? And I said, fuck it, I'll join. So that was May of 2013 that I joined, and here we are 8 years later.
That's fucking crazy.
That's insane, sir. Good thing you didn't go back to school.
Yeah, I know.
A
I mean,
history
it's
teacher, though. That's
you know,
interesting.
yeah,
I could see you being a history teacher.
yeah. I mean, I enjoy history because it's all about learning from your past. It's all about learning from either the good shit that you've done or the dumb shit that you've done, and I've applied that to my life for years. So I thought that history would have been a solid choice for me, but that's I guess in another life.
Yeah. Not the way you were meant to go.
Nah.
So I want to bring up something because I remember you telling me this circa February of 2013 when you guys were touring with the world when you were touring with the world we knew and you happened to stay at Paul Gray's house.
I did.
on more than one occasion. I didn't
I
tell
did.
Nikki about that. I figured I would give you the floor
Let's hear
to
it.
go into
Um,
that a little bit because you
yeah.
got some
Well,
cool shit from learning experiences from talking to him and physically some
well,
cool shit he gave you.
we never really met him. Unfortunately. So, um, our singer Frank was friends with his wife's younger sister. So, we ended up hanging out with her, and in turn, us living in a fucking van, she was just like, "Yo, I'll see if you could stay at our house." And sure as shit, the first time that we stayed with there, him and his wife were out at the Golden Gods Awards, um, out in California, and she was just like, "Yeah, sure, fuck it, like stay at our house." We ended up crashing there, which was a very humbling experience because like seeing all the cool memorabilia on the walls was awesome. And then the second time we ended up staying there, like because I apparently the first time they didn't tell him, which was kind of funny, because their mom lived there as well. So she just asked her mom, and she was just like, "Yeah, just make sure he doesn't find out about it or whatever." And the second time we were rolling through, and he was home from tour, and he was just like, "What the fuck do they have to stay at our house for? Like, they have a bus." And she's like, "Well, no, they don't have a bus. They tour in a van." And he's like, "Who the fuck tours in a van? Like, what? Like, what?" And he was so surprised by it that apparently he called Josta, who owned our label, Jamie Josta from Hatebreed, and was just like, "Hey, dude, like, why is this van touring in a van? Why are they not touring in a bus?" And he was just like, "Oh, well, they don't make money like that. Like, it's not, they make $150 a night." So he was like, "Yeah, don't worry about it." He's like, "I'll crash at a hotel. These dudes could stay at the house." And he's like, "Whatever they want, just tell them to take." So I ended up taking a box of Girl Scout cookies.
Yes.
So that
What
was cool.
kind?
I think they were tag-alongs. My favorite are
Nice.
tag-alongs. So
What about that swanky Mick Thompson skateboard deck that you
uh,
got too?
I did get that. He had a box of skateboards at the front door, and I saw it, and I was just like, "Yo, what the fuck is that?" And she was just like, "Let me call him real quick." She's like, "Which one do you want?" And I was just like, "I'll take the Mick one."
Wow.
I
That's
wanted the
so
gym.
sick.
I
Holy
wanted the gym
shit.
one, but they didn't have the gym one.
That would have been so awkward if you got the gym one because now you're friends with him and ride bikes with him. So you'd have been like, yeah, he would have came over your house. You would have like thrown it in your closet. Be like, I don't have this. Like,
Yeah. No, it was actually kind of funny. Like Jim's such a fucking rad dude, and like being friends with him and being friendly with him, like we're not like close. Like I'm not
yeah, you're
talking
cool
to him
though.
every day, but he's such a rad dude, and he's such a humble dude, and like the guy's just super into gear and super into bikes, and like that's what he loves. So like it's cool to be able to sit there and nerd out about gear with him and whatnot.
I could see that. And I could see him being like very just like quiet and humble. I mean, to be
Yeah.
honest, a lot of them do. Maybe not Corey. I mean, I love Corey dearly, but he doesn't seem like the quiet type.
He doesn't seem chill, is what she's trying
I
to say.
don't. I
Well,
mean,
not about
I
being chill,
personally have
but
never
just
met.
like you never got to meet like any of besides Jim and kind of Paul.
Uh, well, I never met Paul. Obviously, I hung out with Jim a bunch of times. I'm friendly with their bassist V Man. Me and him talk about gear as well. We've hung out a couple times. And he's fucking rad too. V Man is a very rad dude as well. I mean, both of those guys are super cool.
Yeah.
Both super into gear, and like me being a total gear nerd and being super into amps and guitars and all this stuff, he's just fucking awesome.
Paul just got a new guitar
Mm.
today. He's like, "Don't get mad if there's a box on the deck." I'm like, "What is it?"
Ah.
He's like, "Well, Orangewood came out with a line of guitars and I really wanted it and it's like $40 on Afterpay a month." So I'm like, "Do whatever the
Sick.
fuck you want." It's a nice guitar though. We came in lane and it was pretty clean.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I heard that shit from outside. I was like, no,
I
it
heard that
sounds
shit
good.
from outside and I was like, "God help me."
Have you ever musically collaborated with anybody? I mean, I hate to use the word idol because obviously, you've met so many people along the way and now like tour with people, but like have you ever musically collaborated with someone you may have considered an idol or maybe like an influence of yours?
Um, so I've never ever like, played live with somebody or recorded with anybody besides 2 years ago. Will called me up and he said, "Hey man, do you want to play leads? Do you want to play the solo on this Motorhead cover that we're doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that's totally fine." So I roll out to the studio, and obviously I learned the solo. I roll out to the studio, I'm playing, and I'm like, "Wait a minute!" And I realized who the cover was for, and it was Body Count.
What?
So I got to record all the solos and all the leads on the latest Body Count cover of Ace of Spades.
That's fucking awesome.
So
That's
yeah, being
awesome.
able to be on the same track as Ice-T was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, because you listen to rap too. Not a lot of
I
people
do.
know that, but you do. Why don't you name us
Yes.
some of your rap favorite rappers?
When it comes to hip hop and shit like that,
Hmm.
obviously always into Wu-Tang. Uh big big fan of Onyx, Mobb Deep, Big L, just to name a couple. Big L is probably my biggest or my most favorite hip hop artists, but I mean, dude, I got to meet Cameron when I was working in the city. I got to meet Busta Rhymes, Mano, a
Oh,
bunch of guys that
I
rolled into the club
love
that I used to
Busta.
work at.
Love,
Yo,
love, love Busta.
he's super rad. Very nice dude.
Doesn't he live
Um,
around here too?
he lives in. I'm pretty sure he lives in
Uniondale?
Brooklyn, but I'm not sure.
Brooklyn,
He might.
okay.
He might live on Long Island.
Damn. Who's someone you listen to that is maybe considered a guilty pleasure, like a singer or band that
So
people might
like,
never think.
I okay. I am not a big fan of the term guilty pleasure just because that implies that there should be things that you shouldn't like, right? But a lot of people don't know I'm a fucking massive Billie Eilish fan. Just because when it comes
Yes.
to when it
Yes.
comes to music production, when it comes to the music behind everything, it's fucking insane. Her voice is absolutely insane. Lyrical content, just the way they record everything and the way that Phineas does all that shit. It's kind of insane, man.
I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna lie. I remember one day you posted in your stories that you were like, "I'm obsessed with this girl. This her stuff is amazing." Like I remember you like did like a little spiel on her, and I was like, "Who's this Billie Eilish girl?" And I'm not gonna lie, Tim was the one who got me into Billie Eilish.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, first time I saw
because I
her,
started listening to her shit after I saw he posted, and I was like, "All right, this has got to be halfway decent if he's posting, and I trust his musical taste, and I'm gonna give it a whirl."
she
So
the first time I think Lana Del Rey posted a photo of her with Billy on her Instagram. I'm like, who is this girl? And go to her page, see she's an artist, and I fell down the rabbit hole with that. And I saw her live at Pier 17.
Sick.
Yeah, that was a really good show. It was so much fun. And just like very all different ages in that crowd. There
I
were
can imagine.
there were like kids, then there were like teenagers, and there were like people in like my age range and like full grown adults. Like really, really good show. She came out with the documentary yesterday on Apple TV that I'm gonna check out.
as Tim's watching it right now, he's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
telling us. He's just
imagine.
watching it in the background.
No, yeah, she like I said, she came out with that EP, and like I remember seeing um at the website Genius, which is like a lyric website. They came out with a YouTube video about her explaining the song I Don't Want to Be You Anymore.
Yeah,
And
this is
she was
deep.
singing the song as she was explaining the lyrics. And to hear her raw vocals over that uh over that video, and knowing that there was a little bit of tuning, I'm sure, uh but or a little bit of processing rather, but her voice is fucking insane.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and then looking into
Incredible.
live videos and looking into, you know, her on Howard Stern and shit like that. I'm like, who the fuck is this? And then, you know, I fell down the rabbit hole, as you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. I love that her and her brother basically recorded that album like in his bedroom, like just in their house. They just
Yep.
sat there and just went for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of insane, and it won um, best production as far as
Yeah.
or you know, as it won a Grammy for best production
Yeah.
because the dude took a fucking MacBook and did so many absolutely insane things. There's a video on YouTube about um how Phineas recorded uh when we all fall asleep, and it's just the noises and the sounds and the, you know, the how he recorded that whole record is just fucking insane, man.
Hmm.
Do you think he
Yeah.
used iMovie at all?
Yeah, I knew it.
Definitely,
I knew it
definitely
was
not.
coming. I knew it
Definitely
was
not.
coming.
But he definitely
Probably
used Logic.
Audacity.
Definitely used Logic 10.
Logic 10.
Would you say
What
Audacity?
about DaVinci Resolve and Audacity? And
No, none of that
Audacity is
stuff.
like fucking like an IBM program.
Yeah,
Paul tried to get me to use that, and it's convenient for some things, but I was like zooming in on the track itself and like trying to clip. I'm like, which sound bar is which? I thought I was going cross-eyed. It was fucking
yeah.
terrifying. You have to tell Nikki the story about the Dimebag Darrell pedal.
A what?
The dime story. The dime story. The dime story is good. So, 2013, 14 years old. I'm hanging out, and my guitar teacher at the time told me that Dime was doing an in-store signing. So I turn around and I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I'm gonna go to this signing. I'm gonna, you know, get my guitar signed or whatever. Because, you know, when I was that age, I was going to any guitar signing that I could, or any autograph signing that I could get my hands on. You know, I met Zach Wild a bunch of times. I met Kerry King a couple times. Like, super into it. So, um, I showed up at around 10, 11 in the morning. He was supposed to be there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he didn't show up until 8 p.m.
Oh,
Now it's
um,
December. It's December of 2013. So it's
In
absolutely
wait,
fucking
2000, you mean
you
freezing.
mean
2003?
2003?
2003. Oh, I said
Yeah.
2013. My bad.
I was gonna.
Yeah. So it was December 2003, and yeah, it was absolutely fucking freezing. And I waited outside for like, you know, 9, 10 hours, and he finally showed up. And the first kid online is sitting there, Dime's, you know, having a blast, and he opens up. There was a bunch of pedals sitting on the table, and he opens up and or opens up this box and pulls out a pedal, signs it, and gives it to the kid. Right. So I'm like, man, he's giving away pedals. That would be so sick if I got one. So I finally get up to the table and he signs my guitar. Now, my guitar was signed by Kerry King and Zach Wild already. So he went in the middle and signed it right below the bridge. And he's like, oh man, this is a sick guitar. Do you play? And I was like, yeah, I've been playing for 4 years. And my dad looks at him because my dad came to every signing that I went to. My dad's like, oh, well, yeah, I've been paying for fucking lessons for 4 years. So you better be good. And Dime was laughing hysterically. And he's just like, you know what, man? He's like, fuck it. You don't have to pay for this. So he whips out a pedal and he signs it. And he gives me the pedal. He signs a poster to Tim, Merry Christmas, Dimebag. And I was just like, holy fuck. My face was
My
blood
God.
red. Like I was blushing. Like I was beat red. I was like, oh my God. So then the manager pulled us over and was just like, all right, that'll be, you know, 279.99, whatever. And me and my dad at the time were like broke, like really fucking broke. And uh the manager's like, yeah, you got to pay X amount of dollars. Dime saw that, saw this guy and us at the register, found out that this dude was trying to charge us, had his security dude walk over, ream out the manager, grab the pedal. The guy basically like shoved it into my chest and walked us out and was just like, "Yo, like Dime would buy this store before you had to pay for this shit. Like, have a good one." And we walked out.
I'm like
So I got a pedal.
emotional hearing that, like genuinely
Yeah,
emotional hearing that because
yeah,
that just is so telling of. I feel like every Dime story has that vibe to it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
man.
What about
Yeah,
when you
it's
met Zach Wild after
My
that?
God.
oh
You saw
yeah.
the
Well,
guitar.
about I would say, fuck, when was that? That must have been so about a year and a half after that. So this is maybe about 6, 7 months after Dime passed away. Zach Wild did another signing because they were coming out with that record. I think it was Mafia, and he was doing another autograph signing. So I showed up with the guitar, and he saw the guitar and was just like, "Oh fuck." So he circled Dime's name on the guitar, wrote this big paragraph, signed the guitar again, and he walked around the table, gave me this huge hug, told me like never stop playing guitar, all this shit. And then he grabbed a beer. I'm 16 years old at this point. He grabs a beer, opens it, chugs half of it, and he slams the other half into my chest. Now, like I said, I'm 16 years old, and I look at my dad, and my dad's just like, "Well," he gives me that like, "Well, what are you waiting for?"
Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
And I grabbed it and I chugged it, and that was my first beer that I've ever had. And it was funny because afterwards I was just like, "That fucking sucked." Like,
It tastes like
so
shit.
like I don't,
Beer
yeah,
tastes like
exactly,
shit, but like
yeah.
Zach gave it to you, so
But yeah, exactly. And it's kind of funny because like I've always wanted to like we were on the same label for a while, and like we have similar circles that we run in. So eventually, I always wanted to tell him that story, to be like, "Yo, man, like you gave me my first beer. Now I'm fucking touring, full time and all this shit." So I
You
thought it
know
would be
he would
pretty
love
that
it
is
because,
so
like,
oh my
I
God. I
definitely
hope you get that opportunity.
he's gonna get
yeah,
it.
that'd be great.
We're gonna make sure that it
Genuinely.
happens,
Yeah.
one way, shape, or form. We're gonna be
Genuinely.
involved now. No, we're
You
Yeah.
gonna
know,
make
we're gonna
sure.
make this fucking happen. Thank you so much for sharing that. Like honestly,
Yeah.
like just like I don't want to sound corny, but it's touching.
That's why I
Like
Yeah.
wanted to have him on because I know he's talented and super cool, but I know he's got cool stories too.
also like obviously clearly the same love for for music that her and I just shared together. I
Of
mean
course.
she's my concert buddy. I don't know uh, how many fucking shows I've been to with this girl, but every single one she's crowd surfing, and every single one my ribs are getting crushed against a barricade, and it's always
Ugh.
a good time.
Yeah.
Last time I met Zach, it was my third time meeting him because I met him at Slip Disc when Blessed Hell Ride came out.
Uh, we were both at that
Yeah, so talk about
because
small world. How weird is
because
Oh
that?
yeah,
I
you
was
you
there.
We
guys
didn't
didn't
know
know
each
each other.
other at that point.
You
Oh.
ready for this? Well, we wouldn't because I was like 13. That was 2002, so I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
Uh, I got my mom's. It was Mother's Day 2002 because I got my mom's Mother's Day card signed by
That's
him.
yeah. Oh
I
shit.
brought my mom with me. I was like, guess what? You're driving me to Slip Disc. I was
Yep.
like,
Oh my god.
Yep.
so I met him then, and then I met him at Sam Ash when he came out with the book.
Sick.
And then I met him 2018. I met him when he played at Best Buy with
Sick.
Corrosion of Conformity. And it was funny because I actually had tickets to see Manson. Twiggy quit the band, so I got a refund back from Ticketmaster for my tickets. And I bought BLS tickets and like meet and greet passes
Sick.
because it was actually cheaper and I had like money left over. And Paul was like, "Yeah, I never met him." I'm like, "You've gone to so many shows and you've like never met him? Like, what the fuck? We're meeting Zach." And I walked up to him and I said, "The first time I met you was at a record store in Valley Stream." And he looked at me and he was like, "Fucking Slip Disc. I remember that shit. I stayed there
Yeah.
till like 2 in the morning and drank beer all night. That was an awesome little fucking place." Like right away knew. And it's like
Yeah.
funny because it's like, especially someone like him, he's got to have so many stories. And it's like he was drinking a lot at that point. And now that he's not drinking, you almost like kind of get nervous, like, oh my God, is he going to remember all these things and stories and stuff? He's like fucking sharp as a tack.
Sharp stack.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I've never met him, but I did see BLS live, and it was Ozfest 2006.
Yeah.
Right? So
Solid. I went to 2004 and 2005.
It's
When
crazy.
was the first time you saw a BLS show though? Like saw them in concert?
First time I saw BLS, I mean, first time I saw them ever was 2004. It was at
Probably there,
Ozfest
right? Yeah.
2004. And then probably 2005. Let's see. Actually, it might have been. Yeah, no, because Ozfest 2004 was the first time I saw him playing. Obviously I went to the meet and greet. Um, but then the first time I saw them solo was probably like 2004, 2005 ish.
Mm.
So it was like they headlined. I forget who opened for them.
Uh,
Blackstone Cherry.
No, 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 no,
'Cause that's when
no.
I saw them at fucking Sayreville. They opened. They were actually, you know what? They were all right.
I never
Yeah,
heard them before that Ozfest.
really.
Yes. It was because it was someone she was I think you were dating was
You
it
know, do you know Anthony Bonomo?
Maybe, maybe.
she was dating him and he was really big into them and whenever we got into his car it was always black and I was like this is pretty
I
fucking
can't
good.
even think of the names of like Anthony's bands
I
that were like
can.
playing at that point.
It's been a really long time. I can't remember the name of his band, but he was a really big fan of his. And so immediately when we were in Ozfest, they walked right to that stage, and I followed up and just see this beautiful blonde lion mane just swinging around. I'm like, okay, I'm sticking around, and
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
I had a really good time. Really good time that day. It was well, I got kind of fucked up in the disturbed pit, but that's a different story for a different time.
Nice.
I think we all
But
had that moment where it was way too hot,
so hot. It's
not
Randall's
enough
Island.
shade.
Randall's Island, and it was just like a
Oof.
102-degree day, like not a tree in sight for any shade. Like it was bad.
That's what happened when I went to
Yeah.
Warp Tour the year before too. It was like 100 degrees out. They had water for like $8 a bottle. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they wanted us to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I never went to Randall's Island for anything.
You know what? It's a good place to have shows because it's big and it's literally just like a ginormous like fucking field in the middle of nowhere. But
Not when it's that hot.
when it's a
Yeah.
hot day like that, there was literally one tree. It was like the Joshua tree in the middle of the field, and there's 50
That's
to
rough.
100 people congregated around. They ended up bringing in like water trucks, and they had like fire hoses attached to the water trucks, and were hosing people down
That's
because it was.
wild.
And they had like mud wrestling because it actually was like keeping people cool. I
Yeah.
remember it was so freaking brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
What was like your favorite live show you ever attended?
Ooh, favorite live show that I've ever attended. Honestly, I don't know. I literally I cannot. Um,
It could be a favorite. It doesn't. You don't have to like judge which
Like,
one is. He's like, yep,
he's
still
making the
nothing.
Hulk Hogan face.
I mean that's the thing. Like, so I've been playing music for at this point 22 years.
Up, you're
I've
making
been
us
going to
feel
Maron.
old.
shows.
You're
I've been
younger
going
than
to
us.
shows.
Maron.
I've been going to shows since my first show. I was 14. So like I've been going to shows for 18 years.
Who's gone
I've
to
been
more shows with you, your mom or your dad's?
my mom, for sure. For sure.
The last time
Um
I saw you played, I stood on side stage. While he played, I stood next to his mom and dad, and it was
yeah,
adorable because I was like,
That's so
"All right,
cool that
this
they
is
go to.
awesome!" Like his parents are there and stuff, like supporting him. And then they started playing, and I was like, "Holy shit, his parents are fucking troopers!" If like I was in a band, like my mom would be like, "It's not Jesus related. I'm not coming." And his mom and dad were fucking rocking out on the side of the stage.
I
that's
was
funny.
gonna
It was
I
awesome.
was gonna say like I'm wondering like what your parents like what kind of music they're into because I can't see personally like my dad yes but my mom no like she'd probably
Yeah.
be like that's too loud for me. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's what I
Yeah.
mean?
mean. Same with my mom and your parents loved it. Like it was
Yeah.
one of the cutest things I've ever seen. Like
Yeah, no,
it was
my
sweet.
dad doesn't my dad's not really into music. I mean he likes music, but like my dad's way more into like blues or like, kind of heavy rock. My dad likes Mastodon. Um He likes Rob Zombie, likes Clutch, stuff like that. Obviously he likes the classics. So going and I think the last show that I went to with my dad was 2016. Me, my dad, and my mom went to go see Sabbath.
That's
It
Wow.
awesome.
was yeah, the last Sabbath tour. Um like the Sabbath farewell tour. Me, my dad, and my mom went to.
Did you see that video of Ozzy that they released recently?
Oh yeah, dude, the guy's like fucking 70,
I know, but
75.
like it's literally like he fucking woke
Like,
up one day and like turned a switch on. I feel like before he got like sick during quarantine, I think it was when he stopped dyeing his hair. I feel like after he stopped dyeing his hair, it was like all of a sudden it was just like a switch went on like, all right, I'm old now. Cuz even like
well,
I feel
that's
like
the thing.
seeing
Like,
him like before
I don't
like
I don't
COVID,
I
he
don't know what
looked like
video.
younger.
I don't know
There
what
was a
video you
video,
mean.
it was him listening to one of his songs, right? It was supposed
well,
to be. It was him like on a couch or something, and he was listening. I could have sworn it was him listening to one of his songs.
I mean, there was a video of him and Jack listening to old recordings of Randy Rhodes. That was years ago, though.
That was on
Mm.
their show. No, this was like maybe a couple weeks ago to like a month ago or something.
I didn't
He
see
was
that.
sitting, I think it was in his living room, and Sharon, I think, recorded it and posted it on her Instagram, and he was just sitting there listening. And I mean, Tim, it looked like he was like 90 years old. His hair is
Oh
like
yeah.
completely
Well,
silver now, but he just like
Damn.
the looks that
I
like
mean,
you could see in
yeah.
his face. Well, he got sick. He didn't have COVID, right? But he had pneumonia.
I'm not sure.
He
Yeah,
was
I mean
I
that's
know
the
really
that
thing.
sick
Like
during here. I
I
know Sharon
when you're
got
that
COVID,
when
yeah,
you're that old and you've done so many drugs for that long, like it catches up to you, man.
but it felt like
yeah.
And
it
whenever
was like
that
a
point
day.
is,
It was like
Well, like you said,
you know,
it seemed like a switch. Maybe it was. Maybe he was just like, all right, like
I think it's
I'm
when
done.
honestly, I think it's when he stopped dyeing his hair. I feel like as silly as it sounds, I feel like
Like what? He just saw the gray roots and he just like
he was like, "Oh
immediately
fuck it, I'm
surrendered any
good."
shred of his youth and was like, all
Yeah.
right, like I'm
That's what
finished.
it
Like what
said, but
it?
that's like what it kind of like seemed like. Cause even like someone like it sounds silly, but the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because like Billy Idol. Billy Idol's like, I don't care if I'm 100 years old, as long as I have my bleach, I'm gonna get on fucking stage. Like that's
Mm,
it. Like I'm just gonna bleach
yeah,
my and that's it. So like I kind of like it's scary. I'm gonna
it
be
also
in
depends
mourning.
on it depends on how much or how you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you get guys um like Ozzy who I mean, dude, he put his body through so much. Like,
so much.
he's probably not doing physical therapy every day. He's probably not
Oh.
doing stuff like that. He's probably not working out. But at the same time, you get guys like Arnold who, Arnold is going to be ripped until he's fucking 105 years old.
Yeah.
And he's got the valve of a pig's heart
Yeah.
Yeah.
in his chest. Like
Yeah.
are you fucking kidding me? And like I know he had surgery. I think it was last year or the year before he had heart surgery
Yeah. It
again.
was
But
pretty
like,
recent.
yeah, but he's good now. I got a personal trainer in the beginning of quarantine,
Sick.
and that man is a fucking beast. Martin, shout out to
Yeah,
Martin
I saw that.
Ford. Yeah, he's a psycho. But I said to him like the same thing. I'm like, you're gonna live to be like over 100
Oh,
because the
that
way he takes care of himself, like he'll post at like 3 in the morning. He's like, "Oop, early morning snack. Decided to go for a run," and he has like a
snack
full
at
meal.
3
I'm
a.m.
like,
Fuck
I'm
out of
dreaming
here.
at that point. I'm not fucking going
So
out for runs. Like,
so
no.
you'll laugh at this, especially talking about dudes that are absolutely larger than life. So we're sitting there on tour actually last year out with Die Art, and we're hanging out, and this dude he comes on tour. He's with Die Art as a photographer. He's a little bit shorter than me, but he is the width of two men. He is fucking wide, bro. Wide. Like stocky. Like he's fucking like a little pit bull. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Oh, what's your name?" Blah blah blah. He's like, "Oh, my name's Runer." And he's covered in tattoos. So we're hanging out, and I'm like, "Oh, like, where are you from? What do you do?" He's like, "Oh, I'm from Iceland. I hang out. I take photos. I do videos. Blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Oh, like, what's your main gig?" His
Oh
main
no.
gig, he's Thor's videographer.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they've been friends since they
Holy
were
shit.
fucking kids. I mean, Iceland's not that big. And it's funny seeing pictures of this dude when he was, younger, maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, who is stick thin. And when I mean stick
Oh my
thin,
god.
he was probably 150 pounds soaking wet. And this dude now is shorter than me and is solid fucking muscle. And he's bigger than me.
Because he
Like
probably
he
had to
like
start
width
working out
wise,
with them.
dude, he got into powerlifting, he got into stuff like that, and he is one of the nicest fucking people in the world. And he's such a great dude. And knowing him and knowing what he does for a living, it's kind of funny. When Thor was working out on Twitch, they'd occasionally pop on Fit for an Autopsy, and it's just funny because
That's
I'd hop into the stream and they'd be listening to Fit, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is awesome." And there was one time where Runer turned around, he's like, "Oh, this is my buddy Tim's band. He's in the stream, he's in the chat right now." And he pulled up a picture, and there was one time where Thor was just like, "That beard is fucking insane." And
that's
it's just kind
awesome.
of cool because I'm obviously a big Game of Thrones fan as well.
I remember Peter Dinklage was talking about him in an interview once, and he said that man could eat 10 roasted chickens in one sitting.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't
I
doubt
was
it. I
like,
do not doubt it.
what in the fuck?
That's
Like,
extra.
Yeah,
it's nuts. How
you
big
know,
is he again? He's
he's
like,
like he's like
I say
six
340.
six. He's like 6'5", 6'6". I think he was coming in at like 380 or something like that.
That's a large man.
Yeah,
Holy
my
crap.
trainer's 6'7" and he's freaking 340.
Phew.
That's
So he's about
wild.
like the same size.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. So he is way more lean than Thor is.
Yeah.
You know,
He goes back and forth more. It's weird, like especially like during quarantine, he lost a bunch of weight and then he gained it back in muscle because he bought one of those like machines. It's like all around machines. I don't know what the hell they call, but it's lift, it's pull downs, it's like a bench, it's like all in one. He started doing the stock weights that came with it on the machine. Then he started collecting weights from around his house and he
it's
was bungee
wild.
cording them to the machine and then he was putting his kids on there. And his wife is 4'8", maybe.
She's a
She's
tiny
like
thing
up
compared
to
to
his
him.
waist
Yeah.
pretty much. And she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You have to stop working out."
Well, that's like Thor. Thor's wife is very, very
Yeah,
small as
she's
well.
tiny too. I don't think they could really help it at that point. I
Probably
mean,
not.
when they're that big, it's like even if they dated someone that was 5'6", they probably still look
They
mad
probably
Everybody's
tiny.
they
still
still look like a
tiny.
shrimp.
Yeah,
Oh,
Eddie's not as, I mean, he's big, but he's not as
he's not as
tall.
tall. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's funny they had at Eddie's wedding, Martin. There's a picture of Martin literally holding Eddie like across his arms, and Eddie's like laying in his arms. I'm like,
it's wild.
I can't. It's
so
like beast and a half,
you
but
you said that you're a big Game of Thrones fan, so obviously you hated the last season just like everyone else, right?
Um, you know, so I wasn't a massive fan of it. But I think it tied things together decent, you know. I didn't hate it as much as other people hated it. I felt like there was a lot of people that were like, "This isn't how it's supposed to end," blah 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 blah. And it was the same way with Star Wars. It's like, listen, how it ends is how it ends. Whether you like that ending or not, that's that's your opinion. That's fine. But you are not the writer of the show. You're not the writer of the book. You're not the director. You're not anybody that has to do with the show. So, how the show ends is how it ends, right? The way it's supposed to end is how they portray it. It's the same thing with the Star Wars movies. They were like, "This isn't how it's supposed to end," and it's just like, well, that's not up to you.
I
That's
don't
up to the writers. That's up to the screenplay and the all that shit.
You go.
I don't think I necessarily had an issue with the story
Oh, not
itself,
you, not you in particular, but I'm just saying
but
like the large
I
majority of the fan base.
I wanted to say that I hate that rush. Like when something feels rushed to me, I'm like, ugh. Like they probably could have probably spread it out across like another season, and it would have felt more fulfilling to me. I think. And then there was the Starbucks cup.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, there was definitely a couple things like that.
Silly shit.
But I honestly thought. I mean, I didn't mind. I didn't mind how they killed the Night King. I didn't mind any of that stuff. I think that the only thing that I didn't really like was the way I didn't like the way that the Lannisters went out. I didn't
Yeah,
like the
that was
way
so
that
cheap.
there was definitely a couple things. There's definitely a couple things that I didn't enjoy about the last season. I wish it should have been done. I wish um, those branches of the story should have, I guess, been dealt with differently.
Yeah.
But it's not up to me.
It's not up to you nor me, but let
Nope.
me tell you, as someone who Jamie Lannister is probably one of my favorite characters on that show, and then to see him go through this major arc and then have that happen, I was like, really? Like that fucking sucks. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it also shows. It does also show that no matter how much you try to change, you still go back to your same old ways.
Mm,
And that's kind of how that was for me, at least. But I definitely thought that um, the Cersei storyline should have had more justice to it.
yeah,
Um, I think that she should have. I think she should have met that timely end
absolutely. And
a
again,
different way.
she was one of my favorites too. I really actually, now I think about it, both Lannisters are probably like top. I mean, she was like one of the most evil bitches in the world, but she was a great character, and I
Yeah,
agree with you. It's her end should have came a little
yeah,
bit more
She's a great
brutally.
actress too. I
She's
saw
a
her
great fucking actress. I
yeah.
love
She's
actually
her.
awesome.
right after Game of Thrones ended. I watched that. Tim, help me out here. That wrestling movie about the family who wrestles.
Who else was in it?
She played the mother in that movie. I forget who else.
Wrestling with your family.
Stop! You know what? You don't know what movie I'm talking about? I think it actually
It's the.
I think it was a
I'm,
WWE
I'm
movie.
pretty sure that's what it's called.
All right.
Wrestling with my family.
Wrestling
I
with My
can't.
Family,
That's the name of the
starring Lena
episode.
Headey. Headey, right? Is that her name?
Yeah, she was the mom, but it was so weird because I didn't like recognize her at first. It's about
It's
this
about
girl.
Paige. It's about Paige.
Yes,
Yeah, that I'm pretty sure. I'm 90%
wrestle.
positive.
Watch that
It's
really is
called
the name of
If
it.
that's
wrestling
really the
wrestling with
title,
my family or wrestling with your family.
Watch it definitely is. But yeah, that movie she played Paige's mom, and it was so weird because she had clearly had a wig on. Like
Mhm.
you could tell it was like kind of painfully obvious. So she was probably filming it like around the same time as like the end of Game of
Yeah,
Thrones.
yeah.
But it was like up to her shoulder and like flipped out with like red underneath
Yeah,
it. Had like
that's exactly what it's called.
wrestling with my family,
Sorry, fighting with my family.
Oh my god.
fighting with
That's
my
literally what
family.
it's called.
It sounds like
Yeah,
one of those movies that they make you watch in school. It's not
yeah.
okay to
The
fight with
Rock,
your family.
the Rock, Lena Headey,
There was a bunch of people in
Oh, The
that,
Rock is in
right?
it. That's why you remember it,
Of course,
Lucy.
that's why I
Nick
remember it.
She loves her
Frost.
some Dwayne
You're
Johnson.
welcome.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
this is a bunch of random people in this, but yeah, it's called Fighting with My Family. Very original.
I don't even think I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I finished it. I know I watched most of it.
Guess it must have been a real great hit.
It was alright. It was kind of you. I mean, you could probably watch the trailer and get the whole gist of the fucking movie just by watching the trailer, and it's like,
I've got to get you to watch WandaVision. I don't know. Are you a Marvel
It
fan?
shows I've watched
oh,
everything.
I love this show. I'm not going to give anything away, obviously, because it's brand new. I don't want any to spoil it for anybody, but especially you, because I
Listen,
want you to watch
here's
one
my
of that.
thing. Here's my thing about spoilers. Here's my thing about spoilers.
Here we go.
Grow the fuck up.
here we go. He's gonna start sucking his teeth now.
Listen, if a show comes out and you haven't watched it within the first like week and a half,
You're behind.
It's your fucking fault. That's your fault. I am not going to, like, the way I am, I'm not going to curb what I want to talk about just because you're too lazy to watch a show for a half hour.
He sounds like Peter
All
Steele
right.
right now.
Well, forget. Oh, he does, yo. All right. At least for her sake, because I want it to be kind of a
I'll watch it tonight.
surprise-ish. Because it's
So get on it.
yeah.
I'll get on.
Did you watch all the other Marvel stuff?
What, like the shows or movies or
I mean,
mo
I've seen all the TV shows.
I have not seen
Or
all the
sorry,
TV shows.
I've seen all the TV shows and the movies.
I've definitely seen all the movies, not all the TV shows.
Yeah. So like Agents of Shield and shit like that.
Is
Yeah, I
Lucy,
didn't watch
Legends
that
of
one.
Tomorrow, is that Marvel? Or is
Lucy,
that...
did you see all the movies?
I saw a lot of them. Not all of them, but I did see a lot. Paul's really into it. So,
Mm.
and the
Yeah.
shows too. I watched a lot of the shows with him
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
had no idea
Marvel and DC.
where WandaVision was gonna go. I was just really pleasantly surprised, and then my boy Evan Peters popped up, and I was like, I guess I got to start watching it. So
I
Yeah.
heard it's
Which is
great. Everyone keeps talking about how great it is. So I really want to watch that, and I do want to watch Mandalorian. Um,
a new
you're
one just
telling me that you
happened.
haven't watched that either?
I watched a couple of it, but I'm not going to sit here and be a poser and say I know everything about Star Wars. So it was kind of hard to follow. But that's because it's not that it's not a bad show. It's just I'm behind on a lot. I've seen the movies,
Yeah, I've seen all the
but
movies.
there's a lot of things that are in between movies and timeline.
Did you see Rogue One though?
I did.
You did. Okay, okay. I really liked Rogue One, but I actually Mandalorian season 2, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I want to.
I heard it was incredible. I
It's
watched parts of it. Um,
Go ahead, spoil the whole thing for
Man,
us right now.
I think Paul
Cuz
watched
you
fuck
it.
the
guys are
audience, right?
fucked up. You guys are fucked
Here
up.
we go.
Listen, if you were into a TV show and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna wait 6 months to watch it, you deserve to have it spoiled. You deserve
Oh, that's what I
to
mean. I
have
don't care if
somebody
people
just
were
say,
like,
just
if
come out and
someone
just blow it right out of the water.
if someone spoiled Mandalorian for me right now, I would not be upset.
"Oh, I know what happens with Mandalorian. I know how it ended and everything." Like Paul came into the bedroom at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning.
You
I thought,
crying? I mean, oh,
yeah, no, I. Hey, let's talk about
it's
that
crying.
that poor guy that cried on his freaking live stream and the guy from freaking Lucasfilms fucking
Yeah,
gave him shit
what a
about it.
fucking
Yeah,
dick.
like that's gut wrenching. As a person,
Disgusting.
like I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan, but I could see why people are so into that because not only is it a crazy story, but they went as far as making languages, species of creatures. Like they went all out, paid attention to
Yeah.
detail and
Created a
makeup, costumes,
universe.
hairstyles, like everything about that world and those worlds. Like they put so much time and effort into it, and I see why people appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not going to sit here and be like, I love Star Wars. I like the movies, they were freaking great, but there's a lot more. I feel like I'm only on the tip of the iceberg as far as knowledge when it comes to that.
I'm in that realm too. I have to
Yeah,
say.
I guess you would
I
call
would
it
say
realm,
that.
but like
Yeah.
he came into the room, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was like in tears. He's like, that was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And seeing so many people react that way,
Mhm.
I was so happy for the Star Wars fan
Yeah.
base because I
Yeah.
was like, you know what, for something as powerful as that to happen, like holy shit. Like
Well, the thing is about it is like, you have all these fans that have loved these movies for so long. And, Disney wants to push their agenda on it and, go a different route. And listen, that's a decision that they made. I totally get it. I totally understand it. But now with The Mandalorian coming out and having like them giving um you know, I, I I guess somewhat creative reign to John Favreau and this crew that's making the Mandalorian. Dude, it is wild what they
so
could have
John
done.
Favreau is fucking he's gonna go down in
Dude,
history as a fucking icon. That man is incredible.
100%,
Not only
100%.
talented as far as Star Wars and stuff like that, but I made Paul watch some of the Chef Show the other day.
Yeah, it's great.
And he was like bugging out. He's like, he's sitting here having fucking, he's like making food with Robert Downey Jr. and like
Yes.
sitting there eating, talking to Marvel and Star Wars and stuff. Like,
Fucking love RDJ so much. Oh my god.
Dude,
he bugged
did you
me.
ever see the episode of the chef show that he's doing? It's just called Chef, right?
I think there was a documentary, I think, that was called Chef, and then there's the Chef Show, which is him
So
going around like cooking.
with that show, um, he was doing one episode with Gwyneth Paltrow,
Yeah,
and she's like, I was never in any Star Wars movies, and he's like, yes, you were.
I
I don't know
remember
if
that.
you've ever seen this clip, and she like had no idea that she was in a Star Wars movie, and
That was
like, oh,
painful.
sorry, not Star Wars,
Yes.
Spider-Man. So had no idea that she was in a Spider-Man movie, and he's just like, yeah, when we filmed this, that, blah 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 blah, and she was like, that was for Spider-Man.
Oh
It was,
shit.
so funny.
How old was she? Like how long, like which Spider-Man are we
It was
talking? Maybe
Homecoming,
is the
right?
It
better
was, yeah, it was one of
question.
the
It was
new
Homecoming
ones. It was
because
like
Robert
4
Downey
years
Jr. was
ago.
in it.
Oh fuck.
It was the one, yeah, it was Homecoming
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
was the one he was in. Like
But the
fucking,
thing is,
That's right.
those filming schedules are so intertwined because they're coming out with so many movies, year after year after year,
mm,
that it's like it you they kind of blend into each other, and it's kind of like touring for us. We're like, they're like, oh, like we played this show on this date. They're like, no, that was a different tour. You played here on this date, and you're like, I played in San Francisco. Like when?
well,
Like what?
that's like what happened with obviously you definitely saw as the palaces burn. That's like what Randy Blythe was saying when he got arrested. They were talking about the show in Prague that, that horrible incident happened at. And he was like, when the fuck did we play Prague? He's like, that's like
Yeah,
asking me what I had for breakfast 6 years ago on this day. He's like, they didn't even like remember to the point where they landed in the Czech Republic and like a SWAT team like came on the plane and arrested them. And they were the
Holy
whole
yeah,
band was
shit.
sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? They didn't even know what had like happened because it like had been so long since they played there. But like what you said, it's like everything like morphs together, especially after doing it for so long.
yeah. It's that's how tour is, man. That's literally how tour is. It just meshes together, and you don't really know where the fuck you are half of the time. Like I there's definitely days where I wake up and I'm like, I don't know what what day it is. You know?
You think you're in Texas and you're in Copenhagen?
No, no, it hasn't been like that. But
I
you're like,
feel
oh, I'm in Prague, and it's just like, no, you're in Germany. I'm like, oh shit.
Did you ever run into Till Lindemann in Germany?
No, no. Germany's a very big country.
Find him.
yo, just like give Lucy his number. Like hook a bitch up, you know?
I can't.
Yeah,
He's like, no, I'm good.
God, my obsession is Phil Anselmo, and every time I mention his name, that she makes that face. That's what happens. Yeah, I fucking love that guy so much. He's really chill. Like I was so intimidated at first because it's him. Then you get
yeah,
up there, and he's just like one of the chillest dudes I've ever met.
yeah.
Did you ever get to meet him?
Who? Phil?
Phil and Samuel?
No, nope,
He's like, no.
He's like, no,
no,
No, Phil.
nope,
no.
no
She has a
Phil.
love. She has a love hate thing with Phil. We
It happens.
I don't know. He kind of dodged us one day after a down show. It was just like me, her, and like one other girl outside. I was just like, "Don't scream at him, Lucy! Don't scream at him!" But she was like, "Zach Wilde should have kicked your ass when he got the chance." And I was like,
Jesus
In
Christ.
my defense,
"Fucking
it was like
shit!"
14 degrees outside. I had
It was
bronchitis
bad. She got
and
really sick that
That
night.
it was
sucks.
terrible.
Yeah.
It was
That
like two
sucks.
o'clock in the morning.
She did it for me because she knows how much I love him, and I felt
Yeah,
kind of bad too because I'm like, damn, like she just waited outside with me, and yikes.
that
Sorry,
sucks.
Babs.
Sorry, and then I brought you to see him at Best Buy Theater,
Yeah,
and
that was payback
there was literally
for
people
me.
buying comforters sitting on the streets in New York waiting to get into the show. It was that cold.
It was
That's one band that I always wanted to see that I've never seen.
We saw them there, and then we saw them at
That was in '08, right? December
yeah,
'08.
and then we saw them at Project Revolution the year before. But they
Oh
were
yeah.
great then, but it was kind of fucked up. Bam walked out from it was at Jones Beach. He walked out from backstage, and literally everyone that was on the floor watching him just ran over to the fucking barricade to meet him.
I can
And you could see
imagine.
Villavallo was just on stage, like, really, dude, you had to walk out during my set. Like, you couldn't have waited like 10 more minutes, because like he knew everyone was gonna fucking run after him.
Yeah. Well, who
Yeah,
the fuck's wrong with
But
him?
they were good
Hmm.
then. But seeing them at Best Buy was awesome. He's insane. Like, I mean, I love him dearly, but his voice is just like I think he went through literally like 2 packs of cigarettes on stage, and he sounds like
oof,
how he does on the records. I know it's so gross, it's so vile,
that's
but like
rough.
just the fact that he could smoke that much and still sing like that, like I know a couple years ago he actually was put on feeding tubes because he said in his book he would literally wake up, he lived in an apartment like over like this deli convenience store. He would walk downstairs, he would get like 2 packs of cigarettes and a bottle of vodka and walk to his recording studio and just sit in the studio for like 10 hours and then go home and go to sleep and like do the same thing that he never ate. He just drank
Jesus.
vodka and smoked cigarettes.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
That's that shit
I
that you
get
put your
hangry.
body through.
Yeah.
I get
You know.
free for to deal with that shit. I'm serious. I get very hangry. I am like I'm the worst if I don't eat.
Tim posted pictures of chicken wings last night and I was drooling not only cuz I was hangry, but I haven't
I'm pretty hungry right
I've
now.
I've barely eaten meat
Oh.
since October.
Is that why you didn't take any of my chicken teriyaki?
That
Like,
is.
you're staying away from chicken? All right. Yeah.
And pretty much, I mean, I could eat fish, but I can't like eat beef. I can't eat pork. Like, I think I got bit by a Lone Star tick during quarantine in the woods by my house because I live right by Connecticut. So I freaking walked in the woods every single day, and I think I got bit by a tick.
Yikes.
It sucks.
Sucks to be me, because I'm like a vampire at heart. So what do you guys? I mean, are you guys talking about touring, like anything like that now, or is it still
Uh,
kind of too early to tell?
we have touring plans for the end of the year, but I honestly don't even know if that's gonna happen.
Well, let's
Um,
keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers
fingers
crossed. It's good.
crossed.
It's good to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like just to keep you
Yeah.
guys like I don't know in the mindset, even if
Well,
it.
that's the thing. Like, last year we dealt with this the whole year, and we're like, "Oh, this is going to happen. This is definitely going to happen." And then, no, then this is going to happen. No, then this is going to happen. No, not that. And that's not going to happen either. So, like, until I see bands starting to play actual shows and shit, that's going to be way different.
Yeah.
That's the main thing for me is waiting for that. So we have the Trivium Heaven Shall Burn tour in Europe, ready to go, and that's booked and it's all planned out. So I mean, I'm hoping that it's allowed, but there's a lot of festivals that are already being scheduled out for next year and stuff like that.
Mm.
So um, I really fucking hope, man.
I see
For
You and
I
us
see
both.
some shows they do. I know like comedians are starting to do more shows, but they have like drive-ins or like not as many people. It's like half capacity, social distance, but like um I saw
Games too. Like stadiums are now. I think they're going to allow like 30% capacity
the tickets are
for
probably going to be
sports.
stupid expensive to get. Oh
Probably,
my
but
god.
it's still
Yeah.
some step
No, people are going
forward,
to spend
somewhat.
it. I saw on Valentine's Day Andrew Dice Clay did a live stream from Governors,
Mhm.
and he literally stood in front of 3 huge TVs that had all the Zoom screens on, and he was able to like do it that way. But the rest of the shows for that tour that he's been doing, it's all outside.
yeah,
He's on a stage, and there's a huge plastic like piece of plexiglass or whatever dividing him and the crowd. But like he's playing shows in like Detroit and Milwaukee and stuff. It's fucking cold. And these
Mm.
yeah,
people you're literally sitting outside social distance with a mask on
Not
with
gonna
6
catch me
layers
outside in
on
that.
waiting.
Nope.
That's what he's been doing. He's like he played the other night. He was like no joke, it was below 0. and he had like one of the poofy jackets on. He had like two hats on. He was bundled to shit, and he's like, you know what? If these people are gonna come and sit outside and like watch me, then I'm gonna go out and do this for them
Yeah.
because it's the least that I could do. But I feel like they're gonna hopefully to try to do more things like that. I mean, a lot of shows now, I feel like, especially like comedians, they're testing everybody that walks in the door. You still have to
Yeah,
wear a mask, but they're testing everybody and taking temperatures. I've been going to the gym, and every time I go to the freaking gym, they take my temperature when I walk in the door.
yeah, they
A
have to.
million questions, like, yeah. So I feel like keeping our fingers crossed. I feel like they're learning more and more about it. I saw something they had a show. I think it might have been Europe, and it was literally all little tiny platform stages. And it was like 4 to 6 people on a platform stage, and there was
Yeah,
probably like 100 to 200 of them like lined up. But
it's wild.
it's crazy. It's fucking
That's
insane.
hey man, if that's what it takes to do a show, and I have to play shows outside the whole fucking year, and people have to stay inside of these fucking boxes and these cages, I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. I'll do it.
Right. I said to her the other day, I said like if that's what they're gonna do for Rammstein, because that's MetLife Stadium. I'm
Mm.
like, I'll fucking do it. If they say you need a vaccine to go into these shows, which I could have sworn I heard Live Nation was saying that they want people to be vaccinated before coming to an event. Um, you could give me a vaccination for anything.
Yeah, I mean,
just, just,
I'm
just to
that
go
way
to a
with
show right now.
I'm
Like,
that way with anything Mike Patton. After these two, like another Tomahawk single dropped today, and if they go on tour and it requires a vaccine, whatever it requires, I'm doing it so I can go in and fucking see them. I would.
I'll look like the guy from the Goonies just to get into a
Oh
freaking show at this
no!
point. I don't care.
The last show that I saw before quarantine, I was just saying before, was Mr. Bungle. And
Sick.
so, yeah, that was insane. Absolutely
I can
insane.
imagine. That was probably a
They
blast.
they played only their demo that they recorded when they were like 16. That
That's
was
awesome.
it.
That's sick.
Yeah, so that was definitely a special event. So if the next concert I could see is Mike Patton, again, but this time with Tomahawk, that would be nice.
I feel like out of all the bands that I've seen over the years, I feel like if someone said to me you had to pick one band to see and that's the only show you could see until everything opens up again, it would definitely be Corn.
Mm,
That
As much
show
as
that
I
they
love
played at
Corn,
Jones Beach, it was definitely solid. I mean, dude, Slipknot, Slipknot's fucking live show is absolutely
yeah.
insane, man.
they really are.
You know
So I
the
hear.
So
you've never seen the Knot.
Never.
you have to next time they come around, we have
Yo,
to
Never
go.
saw.
I'm telling you, man, that's a fucking show. That's a show and a half.
Last time I saw them in that Jones Beach show that you're talking about, I got on Barricade. I don't know how,
Me
or
either.
like
But good for you.
I don't know how I did that, but
Yeah.
I was in front of Mick
It's
on
like
the
work.
barricade the whole time.
Sick.
And dude, it was so scary. I'm not even gonna lie, because I've loved that man since I'm like 14 years old. I'm gonna be 33, so like 18 years I've loved him. And
Yeah.
I remember I was standing next to my sister, and I just remember looking up at one point, and he was just standing off the stage looking down at us, and I felt like the size of a pea. I'm like, he could
Yeah.
on me, and I would be okay dying like that. Like, he is an intimidate. He's probably the nicest man in the fucking world, but he is
Most
so
of them
intimidating
are. Most of
looking.
them are.
So
Honestly.
his guitar tech, his guitar tech is a very close friend of mine. This dude Mike, he owns Omega Amplification,
Wow.
and I did a couple things leatherwork wise for him, and it's just funny. Like Mike's such a cool dude too. I've never met Mick. I haven't met half of those dudes. Um, but fuck, man, their crew is fucking awesome.
And it's probably guys that they've been with for like ever. I could totally see them like being like that, keeping
Yeah,
like the same dudes around for like ever. They're fucking crazy. I
yeah.
watch Sid does live videos on Instagram once in a while. He's an interesting fucking cat. He's
Yeah.
definitely
Oh
he's
yeah.
He seems like something else. He seems like a lot of fun. I mean, they probably all are, but I mean,
Probably.
I would want to meet him over Craig. I think, like, if somebody like
Yeah.
as much as Craig's mask is cool, is what it is. Do you want to do you want to plug anything where people
Yeah.
could
Tell
find
people where
you?
uh,
people can find you.
shit. You can find me. Let's see. I do obviously my band Fit for an Autopsy. I do leather work. I own a company called South Shore Leatherworks where I'd make wallets and all stuff like that. I own a clothing company called Tombstone Hardware, where I do all motorcycle based clothing and whatnot. And I work for a company named First Manufacturing. So if you ever need any leather jackets, that's the place.
I was gonna wear my
Good to
Tombstone
know, actually.
hardware hoodie today, and then I was like,
Hell
"That's
yeah.
mad lame." Yeah, but if I wore it on the interview, you would have been like, "Really, right now?" Like you would have like, "That's whack." I also have the fit for an autopsy hoodie, the No One Could Save Us hoodie with the fucking Grim Reaper with the
Yes.
what? Dude, that
Yes.
hoodie is the shit, and I've worn that to like a couple shows, and people are like, "Yo, that hoodie's nasty."
You have to. I feel
Yeah,
like
that
I've
thing's sick.
definitely seen you wear it before, but you have to show
I
me
have
in
an
your
extensive
closet.
hoodie
Refresh
collection.
my memory.
Tim would appreciate it. I have a walk-in closet, and it's literally like 90% hoodies.
I also have a wild amount of hoodies.
Solid.
Thank you so much for
Dude,
coming on today
anytime.
and telling the amazing Dimebag Daryl story because I'm gonna carry that with me
Yes.
forever.
Yes, the dime
That's what
story.
Nikki
The dime
took from
story
this
is
whole
always
That's
time.
good.
what from this whole thing. No, it's just obviously dime stories always stick out to me. So thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that with
Hell
me.
yeah. Anytime, anytime. Seriously.
Yes, thank you. You're the fucking best. I love you. I
Hell
miss your
yeah.
face, and I want to come have pizza with you soon.
It is here.
Pizza with Rapunzel
It's
beard.
here. Well, before you start doing press and crazy shit, let's get pizza.
Well, yeah, that won't be for a while. So I'm always down for pizza.
All right, cool. I got tested today. I'm negative, so
Hell yeah. Hell yes.
so you could see me until I get exposed again.
Oh no,
Perfect.
I can't right now.
Thank you so
Hell
much,
yeah.
Tim.
Crazy.
Anytime, guys. Anytime. I will talk to you guys soon.
Yes, definitely.
All right. I have.
Bye.
Bye.